If you're watching this, I'm dead. My name is Robert Vance. I'm 58 years old. I'm an architect. Was an architect. I designed skyscrapers in Seattle. The tall ones. The glass ones. The ones you probably walk past every single day without thinking about who made them or why they're there or what the hell the point of them even is. I'm recording this because I'm going into surgery. Emergency surgery. They found something in my brain, an aneurysm, they call it, a bulge in one of the blood vessels, like a balloon that's been blown up too much and it's just sitting there waiting to pop. Dr. Kimura, she sat me down 3 days ago and she had this look on her face. You know the look, the one where they're trying to be professional, but their eyes are already apologizing. She said, "Mr. Vance, we need to operate immediately. Without intervention, you have a 70% chance of a massive stroke within the next 2 weeks. With surgery, your chances improve significantly, but there are risks. Risks, that's the word they use when they mean you might die on the table." She showed me the scans, this black and white image of my brain, and there it was, this little white spot, this tiny defect that could erase everything. 58 years, gone, just like that. She kept talking about percentages and survival rates and recovery timelines, but I wasn't really listening anymore because all I could think about was that I might not wake up, that this might be it. The end, no warning, no time to prepare, just a scheduled surgery on a Tuesday morning, and maybe that's the last thing I ever do. I walked out of that office and I sat in my car in the parking garage for 45 minutes. I didn't cry. I didn't call anyone. I just sat there with my hands on the steering wheel, staring at the concrete wall in front of me, thinking about how stupid it is that you can just end. That all of this, all the memories, all the work, all the things you've built and loved and regretted can just stop. Like turning off a light. And that's when I decided to make this video. Because if I don't wake up, there are things I need to say, things I need to admit, things I've been too proud or too scared or too damn stubborn to say out loud. So here I am. I grew up in Spokane, East Side. My dad worked for the railroad. My mom was a secretary at the elementary school. We lived in a house that was built in 1947. The wallpaper in the kitchen had these little yellow flowers that were peeling at the corners. The linoleum in the bathroom was cracked. The back door didn't close all the way, so in the winter you could feel the cold air coming through, even when it was locked. But my dad, he loved that house. He really did. He'd come home every night, exhausted, smelling like grease and diesel, and he'd walk through the front door and he'd smile every single time. Like coming home was the best part of his day. And maybe it was. Maybe after 10 hours of working on train engines in the freezing cold, coming back to a house with yellow wallpaper and a door that didn't close right was still the best thing in the world because it was ours. I was 9 years old when I told him I wanted to be an architect. We were sitting at the kitchen table. I was doing homework. He was reading the newspaper. And I just said it out loud. "Dad, I want to design buildings." He put the paper down and looked at me and he said, "Why buildings?" And I said, "Because they last. Because after you're gone, they're still there." He smiled at that. He said, "That's a good reason, Bobby. That's a real good reason." I think about that conversation a lot because I meant it. I really did. I wanted to build things that would outlast me. I wanted to leave something behind. But somewhere along the way, I forgot what I was supposed to be building. I forgot it was supposed to be for people. When I was 12, my dad took me to Seattle for the first time. We drove across the state in his pickup truck. It took forever. We left at 5 a.m, and we didn't get there until almost noon. I remember crossing over Lake Washington and seeing the city for the first time. The skyline, all those tall buildings standing there like they were holding up the sky. I pressed my face against the window and I couldn't stop staring. I'd never seen anything like it. We spent the whole day walking around downtown. My dad didn't have a plan. We just wandered. We went into the Smith Tower. We rode the elevator to the top. It was the tallest building west of the Mississippi when it was built. I stood at the observation deck and I looked out over the whole city and I thought, someone made this. Someone designed this. Someone decided how tall it should be, where the windows should go, how the bricks should be laid, and now it's here. And it's going to be here long after that person is gone. That's what I wanted. I wanted to make something that permanent. We went to a diner for lunch. I can't remember the name of it. Somewhere on 2nd Avenue. My dad ordered coffee and a turkey sandwich. I got a cheeseburger and a milkshake, chocolate. I remember the waitress had red hair and she called me Sugar when she brought us our food. My dad asked her how long she'd worked there and she said 15 years. 15 years in the same diner. She said it like it was nothing, like that was just what you did. On the drive home, my dad asked me if I still wanted to be an architect. I said yes. He said, good. But don't forget, Bobby, buildings are for people. They're not just for looking at. They're for living in, for working in, for coming home to. I said I understood, but I didn't. Not really, not then. I went to college at the University of Washington, graduated in 1989, got my architecture license in 1993, started working for a firm in Seattle, spent 10 years designing office buildings, apartment complexes, municipal projects, boring stuff, functional stuff, buildings that did what they were supposed to do, but didn't make anyone feel anything. And then I got my big break, 2003. A developer wanted to build a new headquarters tower downtown. 38 floors, glass and steel, modern, bold. They wanted something that would stand out. They wanted a statement. They hired me. I was 35 years old and I was designing a skyscraper. I worked on that project for 2 years. I didn't sleep. I didn't take vacations. I didn't see my friends. I didn't call my parents. All I did was work. I was obsessed. I wanted it to be perfect. I wanted it to be iconic. I wanted people to look at it and say, that's a Robert Vance building. And when it was finished, they did. The building opened in 2005. It won awards. It was in magazines. Architecture critics called it striking and visionary and a bold reimagining of the urban landscape. I was so proud. I stood on the sidewalk the day it opened and I looked up at it and I thought, I did that. That's mine. That's going to be here for 100 years, maybe more. Long after I'm gone, people will walk past that building and it will still be there. But here's the thing I didn't think about. Here's the thing I didn't see. Nobody loved it. Oh, people admired it. They took pictures of it. They wrote articles about it. But nobody loved it. Because it wasn't built to be loved. It was built to be looked at. It was built to make a statement. It was built for me, for my ego, for my career. I designed a monument to myself, and I convinced myself it was architecture. And I kept doing it, building after building, project after project. Glass towers that reflected the sky but didn't let any light in. Sleek facades that looked stunning in photographs but felt cold when you stood next to them. Lobbies with marble floors and high ceilings that echoed when you walked through them because they were too big, too empty, too designed. I built buildings that nobody wanted to be in. There's a coffee shop on the ground floor of one of my buildings, 3rd and Pine. I went there a few months ago. I don't usually go back to my projects after they're finished, but I was nearby and I thought, why not? I walked in and I ordered a coffee and I sat down by the window and I just watched people. People coming in, people going out, people working on laptops, people meeting friends, people sitting alone. And I realized something. Nobody was looking at the building. Nobody cared about the architecture. They didn't notice the clean lines or the innovative use of materials or the way the structure integrated with the urban grid. They just wanted a place to sit, a place to have a cup of coffee, a place that felt warm and comfortable and human. And my building didn't give them that. My building was just the shell. The coffee shop was what mattered. The people were what mattered. I spent 30 years designing buildings, and I forgot that people have to live in them. I remembered my dad in that moment, sitting in the diner in Seattle, asking the waitress with the red hair how long she'd worked there. 15 years in the same place, because it was hers, because it mattered to her. I thought about our house in Spokane, the one with the yellow wallpaper and the door that didn't close right, the one my dad loved, not because it was beautiful, not because it was impressive, but because it was home. I never built a home. I built monuments. I built statements. I built things that would last, but I never built anything that anyone loved. And now I'm 58 years old and I'm going into surgery in the morning, and there's a very real chance I'm not going to wake. And if I don't, what's left? What did I actually do? What did I build that mattered? I have 17 completed projects. Thousands of people work in those buildings every single day, and not one of them knows my name. Not one of them feels anything when they walk through the doors I designed. I wanted to be remembered, but I built the wrong things. I need to tell you something practical, something useful, because if this is all I get to leave behind, it should at least help somebody. If you're young and you're starting out in any creative field, architecture, design, art, whatever, please listen to me. Don't chase the awards. Don't chase the recognition. Don't design things to impress other designers, because that's a trap. That's what I did. I spent my entire career trying to impress people who didn't matter, and I ignored the people who did. When you're designing something, anything, ask yourself one question. Who is this for? Not what statement does it make? Not what does it say about me? Who is this for? Who has to live with this? Who has to use this every single day? And here's the other thing. The money will lie to you. The money will tell you you're doing the right thing because you're successful. I made a lot of money. I own a house in Madison Park. I drive a car that costs more than my parents' first house. I have a retirement account that could support me for 30 years, and none of it means anything. None of it, because I traded my integrity for it. I traded the thing I actually believed in when I was 12 years old for a bigger paycheck and a better office and my name in a magazine. Don't do that, please. Don't sell the thing that made you want to do this in the first place. If you're going into architecture, build homes, build schools, build libraries, build places where people gather and feel safe and feel like they belong. Don't build monuments. Don't build towers that scrape the sky just because you can. Build things that matter. Build things that make people's lives better. Even if it's smaller, even if it's quieter, even if nobody writes an article about it. Because at the end, and I mean the very end, when you're sitting in a doctor's office looking at a scan of your brain and realizing you might not get any more time, you're not going to care about the awards. You're not going to care about the skyline. You're going to care about whether you did something good, whether you helped someone, whether you made the world a little bit warmer instead of a little bit colder. And I didn't. I made it colder. I made it harder. I made it more alienating. Every single one of my buildings is a mistake. I know that now. I know it too late, but I know it. There's one building in particular, the Vance Tower. That's what they call it. On Fifth Avenue, 42 stories, all glass. It reflects the clouds during the day and it glows at night. It's stunning. It really is. People take pictures of it all the time. It's probably the most famous thing I've ever made, and it's empty. I mean, it's not literally empty. There are offices, there are businesses, but it feels empty. The lobby is this massive atrium with a ceiling that's 3 stories high, and the acoustics are terrible. Your footsteps echo, your voice echoes. It feels like a museum, like a place you visit, not a place you belong. I walked through it last year just to see it, and I watched people hurrying through the lobby, keeping their heads down, not stopping, not looking around, just trying to get to the elevators as fast as possible so they could leave. And I realized that's what I built. I built a place people want to leave. I was so focused on making it impressive that I forgot to make it human. And that's my whole career. That's everything I did. Building after building after building. And all of them are just these cold, beautiful objects that nobody actually wants to be near. My dad would be so disappointed. He died in 2011, heart attack. He was 73. I was at a conference in Los Angeles when it happened. My mom called me and told me, and I got on a plane that night and flew back to Spokane. I got there too late. He was already gone. I gave a speech at his funeral. I talked about how hardworking he was, how dedicated, how much he loved his family, and all of that was true. But I didn't say the thing I should have said. I didn't say that he taught me the most important lesson I ever learned, and I ignored it. I didn't say that he told me buildings were for people, and I spent 30 years forgetting that. I didn't say I was sorry, and now he's gone and I can't. Mom, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't come home more. I'm sorry I missed so many Christmases and birthdays and phone calls because I was too busy working on projects that didn't matter. I'm sorry I thought my career was more important than spending time with you and Dad. I'm sorry I was so proud of buildings that nobody loves. You asked me once, maybe 5 years ago, you asked me if I was happy. We were sitting in your kitchen. The same kitchen. You still live in the same house. The wallpaper's different now. You repainted after Dad died. But it's the same house. And you looked at me and you said, Bobby, are you happy? And I said, yes. I lied right to your face. I said yes because I didn't want you to worry. Because I didn't want to admit that I'd spent my entire adult life chasing something that didn't make me feel anything. I'm not happy, Mom. I haven't been happy in a long time. And I'm sorry I lied to you. I'm sorry I'm leaving you alone. I know you're going to be okay. You're stronger than I ever was. But I'm sorry anyway. I'm sorry you have to bury another person you love. I'm sorry I didn't give you grandkids. I'm sorry I didn't give you more to be proud of than buildings nobody cares about. I love you. I should have said that more. I should have called more. I should have visited more. I should have been a better son. I'm sorry. If there's one thing I learned, one thing I know for sure, it's this. Nothing you build matters if it doesn't make someone's life better. That's it. That's the whole thing. You can be the best in the world at what you do. You can be the most talented, the most successful, the most awarded. And if what you're making doesn't help someone, doesn't comfort someone, doesn't give someone a place to feel safe or happy or at peace, then you wasted your time. I wasted my time. I built things that will last 100 years and none of them matter. And I would trade all of it, every single building, every award, every dollar, just to go back and do it differently, to build one thing, just one, that someone actually loved, that someone walked into and felt like they were home. But I can't. It's too late. So I'm telling you, if you're watching this and you're young and you still have time, don't make my mistake. Don't build monuments to yourself. Don't chase recognition. Don't trade meaning for success. Build things that matter. Make things that help. Love people more than you love your work, because at the end, the work doesn't love you back. I'm going into surgery in a few hours. It's 4 a.m. right now. I couldn't sleep. I've been sitting here trying to figure out what to say, and I don't think I've said it right. I don't think I've said enough. But I don't know what else there is. If I wake up, I'm going to do things differently. I'm going to call my mom every day. I'm going to visit Spokane. I'm going to find a way to design something that actually matters. Something small, something real. A house, maybe, just one house for someone who needs it. But if I don't wake up, then this is it. This is all I get. And I guess what I want to say is, I'm sorry to everyone, to my mom, to my dad, to every person who ever walked through one of my buildings and felt nothing. I'm sorry I didn't do better. I wanted to leave something behind. I wanted to be remembered, but I should have wanted to be loved. I don't know how to end this. I don't know what you're supposed to say. I've been sitting here for 20 minutes trying to think of something profound or meaningful or final, but I don't have anything. So I guess I'll just say goodbye. Goodbye.